Hi, and welcome to the Green Vegan Grandma YouTube channel. Last couple of episodes, we were focusing on the student-led climate march, the global climate march, over 1 million people into the streets. It was awesome. And I want to focus on how our eating habits and our lifestyle habits are also contributing to the climate change. And look at ways we can change our own behaviors while continuing to ask for change, demand change from policymakers. So, you know, there's 7 billion of us on the planet, and it seems to make sense that 7 billion people are going to have an impact. So how can we live that we have the least impact? How can we really be the change? So the science is in. Animal agriculture is crappy for the environment. It's not good for our health, and it's really, really horrible for the animals. So moving away from that is a process. And in future, we'll look at the way in future episodes that animal protein is connected to common health concerns like heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and dementia. There's no doubt about it. And also on a spiritual, emotional level, you know, if you're eating stuff that is contrived from intense torture and murder, you're consuming that energy that the animal felt when it was experiencing those things. So incredible fear and trauma and pain and anxiety and anger. That energy is in that food, and when you put it in your body, it manifests. Now, whether or not you believe that, you know, future episodes, okay? But for this week, we are going to explore ways that you can make a Meatless Monday experience even more powerful. So Meatless Monday is a really great place to start on a plant-based journey. I want to define what it is to be vegan. And because some people are afraid, I used to actually think, oh, it's a cult. I was a vegetarian, and people would be like, well, have you considered vegan? And I'd just be like, no, this is enough. That sounds really culty to me, and crazy thinking, because it's not in any way. If anything's a cult, it's eating animals. So all that aside, what is well, vegan? It was the term vegan was coined in 1944, pardon me, in England by a guy named Donald Watson and his friends, and they came up with this, that it's a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as possible and practical, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. Simple, right? Well, trying to do it is a little bit more of a challenge. But if you're up for the challenge and you like learning new things, you're in the right place. I've been vegan for 18 years after 10 years as a vegetarian, and I'm still learning new things. It's really, there's nothing boring about this journey, that's for sure. So soap, surprisingly, perhaps for some, is usually contains animal fat derivatives. Animal fat is a byproduct of the meat industry. Some would say it's a co-product, which means that perhaps creating animal fat for soap is enough reason to kill the animal, just like making it for leather is enough reason to kill the animal. So some people tend to call them co-products rather than byproducts. But so in any event, soap and other products that you might not have thought of do contain animal fat a lot of the time. Like on your face, you're putting maybe animal fat on your face. There are ways to not do that. So here's a list of some of the ingredients that you might find when you're shopping. All right, tallow, sodium tallowate, stearic acid, lard. Some of these other names are, here's some really great trustworthy names for soap products. Some other products, if you're looking at them, you'll see the little bunny, the little cruelty-free bunny, and that will indicate that the product has not had any animal testing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't any animal ingredients. So the best way is to look for the V for vegan, or scan the list of ingredients. There is an app called Is It Vegan, where you can scan the barcode of some ingredients. If it's in their database, it will let you know. If you're shopping at the local farmer's market, which I totally encourage because it keeps the money locally, or putting in the money in the hands of a local entrepreneur, It's nice to support the local economy. You can just ask them, hey, what do you put into your soap, you know? Also ask about honey and beeswax, because those are animals. We don't want to contribute to harm. We don't want to exploit them. Then just ask if it's vegan. And most people know that word nowadays. You know, 20 years ago, people didn't even know that word. So things have changed a lot. So next up, let's look at shampoo, right? So shampoo is very similar to soap, but there's also a much longer list of ingredients, usually a lot of chemicals and stuff sometimes. You know, it's time consuming at first, but after you get going with this, you'll find certain products that you like that are vegan, and then they're just your go-to products. But you know what? Sometimes these products get bought up by bigger corporations, and then maybe ingredients list changes. So every now and then it doesn't hurt to just review, look at that product again, join a local vegan online Facebook group or something and just say, hey, has anybody noticed what's going on with this product? And next up, toothpaste. Let's look at toothpaste. So surprisingly, right, toothpaste might contain glycerin. Now, glycerin can be contrived from animal fat or from plants. Sometimes all the product will say is glycerin, so that doesn't really help. And these, again, are some companies that you can trust to provide you with vegan products. In addition to being vegan, usually vegan toothpaste is made from organic and natural ingredients, so that means it's not going to have any chemicals, toxins, parabens, or fluoride. So those things are not necessary for your bodies, and we certainly don't want them in our collective water supply. Thank you very much. Don't forget about dental floss. Sometimes dental floss is covered with beeswax, and again, that's a product of bees. They make it for a reason. It's their reason. They don't make it for us. We steal it from them. We don't have to, and there's other ways of going about that. Some of them also have silk, which is really interesting. Now I'm just going to read this information I got from a site called Your Daily Vegan. Silk is a viscous protein substance secreted from the glands of silkworms, which then hardens on contact with the air, thus creating silk. It is gathered from the cocoon of a silkworm. To obtain a single unbroken filament, the silkworm is killed before it can emerge from the cocoon so that the strands can remain unbroken. This is done by boiling, baking, or steaming the worm directly in its cocoon while it's alive. Don't need to do that. So here are some really great vegan flosses to be vegan. So it's impossible to get away from having any impact living on this planet, but as much as possible, we can make conscious choices to move ourselves in that direction. So, you know what? I'm going to have to leave it there. I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to get to other things like the silk and the leather and the wool, but we'll talk about those in other for future YouTube podcasts. If you want to subscribe, by all means, go ahead and do that. Tell your friends if you think they might be interested in this information. I'll post some links to places online where you can get lists of ingredients, so good starting places so you don't have to do that research yourself, and encourage you to really embrace the Meatless Monday movement. One day a week. Try to really just go totally vegan one day a week. If it feels good, move it to Tuesday, and eventually you know, you've used up all your products that you've got in your house, and then the next time you go to purchase something, you can do it with some real awareness and consciousness of who you're supporting, you know. And sometimes these products cost a little bit more, but I like to remember that I'm supporting people and industries, corporations that are also interested in being vegan. Right? They're buying plant-based products. They're supporting their family by buying plant-based products, so that we're creating a whole kinder economy and supporting each other in that. You can kind of think of it as legal money laundering, right? We're taking this money that's made maybe by kind of dirty sources, and we're cleaning it up. We're putting it through the plant-based rinse cycle. So thanks for listening. Again, I'll be back hopefully next week with another episode of The Green Vegan Grandma.